There's nothing you wouldn't sacrifice on the altar of your
Hey guys,
ambition.
so we got ourselves a pause game, of course, because that's what happens. This is called Pause Lock, after all. But we're going to have a game where I go over Deadlock in some pretty simple terms. Very casual, very newbie-friendly, and hopefully share some of the reason why I enjoy playing Deadlock so much. So I'm playing 7 this time around. My priority has 4 or 5 people on highest priority, actually. But 7, pretty good character overall, considered, I think, quite good across all the leagues. One of the type of characters that you also feel like you have a lot of impact in the game with as well. Where some other characters, sometimes it feels like, well, when you're behind, it's very difficult to catch up. It's very difficult to have an impact in the game when you're behind. Whoa. That was a lot of damage taken. It feels like you can't farm, so you have to rely on, maybe waves, which then other people are taking. 7 can actually do kind of everything. He can be very fast at farming, obviously wave clearing, fairly mobile as well, starting off with 3 stamina. And spirit, gun, I suppose both could be having fun. I am on the professional player, Zergy. This is an old build, I think, but I guess it still works. I always look at the builds as just a framework, which is what you should be as well. You don't have to, and you probably shouldn't just directly take everything from the build. But even if you do, it's just some place that you can start off with, so you're not super intimidated by all of the items that an item shop at MOBA would have. Uh-oh. I'm dead. So, we're playing Mina, which is a new character, as well as Billy, who's also another new character. Some of the older new characters, I guess, as well. I don't think Mina is particularly good. I actually don't really know what's happening with Billy, to be honest. Yamato is my lane partner. And Yamato actually is known as a lane bully, unless things have changed. Unfortunately, not winning out the fight right there. Although getting the opponents quite low. So theoretically, we should actually have a good time, if I don't screw it up, because that was definitely my problem. Naturally, when you start talking as well as playing, you do get a little bit worse. So that's always going to be my excuse. And then I'm going to continue trying to explain everything about Deadlock, including some very basic, simple stuff. Haha. So I heavy melee'd him, which is a kick actually for 7 after the update. And he did try to parry, but he parried after the kick already went through. Honestly, the heavy melee does have quite a big wind-up, so it is very possible to see them about to hit you and actually parry in time. But if you get it wrong, then you don't have the ability to parry for a little while. So that is the downside of just trying to parry it all the time. You get your levels by getting a lot more souls, and then when you're levels, you get your abilities. It's called boons in this game. And apparently, I just learned, thanks to a Deadlock Reddit thread, apparently you can actually refund a boon. You can, if you accidentally press something you weren't supposed to, like, I didn't mean to get that. You can actually refund it. I haven't tested it yet, but that was something I also learned after almost 500 hours in this game, which is still, to some people's positions, half the time that they've played. So, sounds like a lot. It's really not. This game has been around for a long time, although obviously in different iterations. Unfortunately, that did not go very well. Probably should have communicated that I was going to try and take that camp. A tier 1 camp that I just took. Maybe they wouldn't have been as aggressive if they had known that I wouldn't have been with them. The tier 1 camp just means that it is going to be the lowest, the easiest difficulty, lowest difficulty to actually kill a camp, and it is going to be found in the middle on both sides. Mina is ulting currently, which does good damage when she... Oh my god. Okay, Yamato is maybe just being a little too aggressive overall. Probably didn't expect to be, I'm assuming, double ulted. There's a way to check ults, and that is up here. You can see that my opponents, they already have something underneath their icon, and that is first the soul count, and then it is the ults tracker. So you can see that once everyone gets ults, unfortunately, they have gotten their ults very quickly because they have killed us so many times. And apparently are going to kill Yamato again. I don't know why Yamato keeps going in. They might just be a little bullheaded. So anyway, they did use both of their ults on Yamato the last time she died. Still, Yamato took hella damage just coming back into the play, so that's less than ideal. Yamato having to already go back. Obviously, the more time you spend back healing up, the less you're actually getting all these souls, which is what I'm hitting. You get money from killing a minion, but then you get basically all the money for killing a minion if you kill the soul as well. The orb that pops up, and you can deny your opponent's orb to give yourself more money and take away money from your opponent, which is actually the basic mechanic of Deadlock. And something that is, you know, much like a... It's the basic mechanic. It's something that might seem very simple, and you can't really improve that much on it. And it is, you know, a little hero dependent as far as who has better guns for denies and who doesn't. But it is one of those things where actually you can improve a lot. I am just trying to save Yamato at this point. Maybe I did save Yamato? I almost got Mina, so they might have to go back home. So there's that benefit as well. I'd love to just stun off on this guy. Not gonna happen. And they are both about to have their ults once again. Mina already has hers. Billy is about to have his. And so Yamato is the only person who doesn't have an ult because they have just been dying and retreating so often. So unfortunately, the whole lane bully aspect I was talking about doesn't actually hold any weight in this particular game. A little too early on the one that I sent out. So my 2, this thing right here does stun them after a time. And it also stun anyone in their area of effect. And so you can time it out once you're, you know, very familiar with your character and know where they're about to be stunned. It's been a while since I've played Deadlock, so I'm a little rusty in every department. I've also missed playing against the newest heroes, Drifter, who is in this game. He's over there. As well as Victor, who isn't in this game because apparently he's not very good. I don't really comment on balance a whole lot. I basically see what people are saying on Reddit, maybe check a little bit of the professional scene and what's going on over there, and then say, okay, I guess that's the case. But yeah, I don't... apparently Victor is just not very good and maybe not very fun to play. Partially because he's not good, of course. Okay, I got ulted. Which means I get dragged back in. So that sucks. This might just be a little loud. There are a lot of effects that go down in this game, after all. Hopefully that's better if it was bad before. So going on, just explaining every mechanic that exists, which there's a ton, actually. Anytime I think of... there's a time where I'm like, I'm not sure what to say. I actually think of another mechanic. And not just explaining the heroes or anything like that. So right now we're having our... This is our Guardian. This is the first Guardian. We're having it injured significantly. And unfortunately, Mina does have an escape, so she's able to dart out of that. And she has decided to ult, seeing an opportunity, which silences me and also, again, does damage, although I don't think it's too bad right now, and it's ult that's not difficult to avoid. So I'm trying to focus again on my mechanics because this Yamato, I'm just going to say it kind of sucks. You know, I wouldn't say it to them because that doesn't make a very positive atmosphere, and it's not exactly helpful. But yeah, they're being way too aggressive. Way too aggressive. Maybe we should have had the upper hand against the lane that we're in. I don't know. But if you don't, you don't. So instead of trying to just make it happen, well, you should probably just accept it. And then if you want to play it safe, playing closer to the Guardian, Deadlock is kind of maybe unique if you played other MOBAs in that the Guardian does protect you, but you protect the Guardian as well. And I mean that basically it's really not something that's truly intimidating past like probably even 2 minutes, actually. You know, we have seen games, either played them or professional games, where you can take the Guardian sub 5 minutes. Usually people are very proud of that, and they call it out, and they brag. But the fact that it's possible, it kind of shows that the Guardian is somewhat vulnerable. Maybe that's different in other MOBAs. I've kind of forgotten. Haven't played League of Legends in a long time. And only briefly played Dota, and then, well, pretty much nothing else, actually. But if you might be very new to Deadlock and you're checking this out and you're wondering, is this a MOBA or is it a third-person shooter? It is both. That's just the definition of the genre. It is both. But most people would agree that as far as the important mechanics go, you're going to want to basically hone in on the MOBA mechanics more than the third-person mechanics. See, as there's some characters that are more important to have skills with shooting than others. And so, for instance, a person like Holiday, the sheriff, has a gun, has an ability called Crack Shot. You need to hit a headshot to have that activate. And headshots, you know, they're not super difficult to grab here. Finally, we killed one of them. Jesus. But it can, that's one of the notes I have. Or Paradox also has a lot of skill shots where you actually have to shoot the person without any of the computer helping you. I finally got both of them, so that's something. That's something. Trying to match Yamato's energy a little bit, but most of the times I did not see an opportunity to match it. That time I did. Great, fantastic. So maybe the Yamato can also start to, I don't know, farm a little bit, go after the boxes. I don't know if they want to go to the other lane or me. Mid winning their lane is pretty good because you can choose to go help either outside lane. If you won green lane on the right side, for instance, then you'd be able to help blue probably, but getting all the way over to yellow would be a different story, especially since they took away the teleporters that are on the others, either side. And there are still teleporters. If you don't know what they are, they're exactly what they sound like, to be fair. Nice. But they will teleport you from one way to another, and that is shown on the mini-map too. It's a good guess. I don't know. Oh, Drifter, okay. It is a fair guess that when... I mean, the parry worked out right there because I figured as a melee character, Billy is the forward guy who's going to try and melee you like an Abrams, he would try and finish me off with a punch. Sometimes you can also kind of tell when they're out of ammo just because they literally stop shooting you, you know? And you're like, they stopped to shoot me because they do have something better to do or because they're out of ammo. But a lot of the time, if you are very near death, they're going to try and punch you just because the battle has gone on for a while and it's most likely they're out of ammo. But anyway, that worked out. Doesn't always work out. Still didn't save me, especially because Drifter was coming in, and Drifter, I guess, used his ult on me. I'm not completely sure. I think that is, if I remember correctly from doing a video about Drifter, that is what happened. He ulted me. And what is it called even? Eternal Nights. So yeah, I get limited vision. But I was dead to any ult, to anything that hit me. And Yamato is once again dead. So 1-7, great. You know, we got their Guardian first, but I don't know if that's really been making up for the fact that Yamato has died 7 times. Fortunately, as far as souls go, Yamato is the only one who is drastically lower than the others. And most of my team is matching the highest on their team. Hexing Bolt can absolutely hurt, especially when they have the double up. That's the Magician, we call them. Real name is the Magnificent Sinclair, but everyone just says Magician. Nice. Oh, I got the kill. Right before the Hex came in again from the Magician.
Let's take out Mina.
But yeah, usually the... I mean, I have played a Gun Magician, and that is kind of fun. But Spirit Magician and Vexing Bolt Abuse, definitely popular. I'd say Magician is actually a very difficult character to use overall, but sometimes you face good ones, and they can be oppressive. So, somehow we've kept our Guardian alive. The other teammates have helped. Oh, shit, and Drifter. And Drifter can hunt your scent, so... there's not really a point in hiding from him. Drifter may be a bit complicated as far as the balance goes right now. But yeah, Warden had left, or did he die? No, he had left. He was probably weak. And Yamato, I don't know what they're doing. And then there was someone else I felt like, but either way, I was alone. So I probably shouldn't have taken on Kelvin at all. But Warden was like up into the walker. That's why I thought maybe I could. I think there was a reason I was being somewhat aggressive, but that was clearly incorrect. So bridge buffs are up every 5 minutes, and then they start at 10 minutes alongside the mid-boss. And the bridge buffs, you can see them on the map over the bridges. They will be of different types. Right there we have a fortitude one. The green one on the left side is good for tanks, but just good for also surviving. Gives you health as well as health regen and maybe some other stuff. Actually, I haven't quite looked into it intently. Okay, Hayes. Maybe I didn't have to ult, but I was a bit afraid of Hayes coming back in and the other guys not realizing that I'd gone in to fight. A little scared after the last incident, I suppose. So we do have all of their guardians killed. We still have one guardian up the yellow lane. You can see in the mini-map there's 2 big diamonds. Those are what's it called? Diamonds. And the smaller diamond on the front is the guardian. And that means that we have a flex slot. And that means one more item can be purchased without having to replace an item, which is pretty big. It gets bigger, obviously, the more that you actually start filling out your slots. Some people may have already filled them out. It doesn't seem that way, but, you know, the longer that we keep this Guardian up, the worse it's going to be for them. I don't know if we can actually go after this Guardian. Definitely not. Oh, man, Ivy was in a lot of trouble. Sorry, Walker. We were going after the Walker, but now we need to focus on keeping our own Guardian alive. I am right-clicking. Okay, so Drifter ulted me again, so I can't see shit. I am right-clicking on these items, and I've not thought of something specific that I need, but maybe I'll get return fire. Depending on what they're going for, I might get gun resistance or spear resistance. But when I right-click on these items, they actually queue up, and then when I go close to a shop, it'll automatically buy it for me. I believe it's quite good for a character like me. We ulted them. So Affliction on means that they're going to take a lot of damage. They won't die from Affliction, but they can obviously die from anything close to Affliction. Magician stole Affliction, and I thought got me with it, but apparently not. Nothing's showing up. So that's kind of, I don't know what happened there. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. Anyway. Maybe that was just the residual of the actual pocket ult. I don't know. So now that all of us are here, obviously we can go after the Walker. And it looks like we are going to get the kill too. Actually, the minions will probably get the kill. Not really any reason for me to... Well, there is a reason for me to stay on yellow. Well, is there though? Warden, my teammate, picked up the urn from this side of the map and is now depositing over on this icon, and that'll give us souls, so that's nice. It's also a bit of a freebie. A good call from Warden. Most of the lanes that were pushed, blue's getting a little tight, but still pushed enough, and we obviously had just taken out yellow, so he had a clear path unless he was caught in the middle by someone, which is possible, but I would say is kind of difficult to do, because through the middle, you can actually go down these stairs into the mid-boss and through them. And the way that you would lose your urn is if they punched you. You have to punch someone to actually get them to involuntarily give up the urn. Otherwise, they can drop it if they're forced into a scenario where they would die very quickly, for instance. They might want to go ahead and drop it themselves. But if they realize that it's one person or 2 people that aren't going to catch up to them, because the urn also gives you a speed boost, they can literally just run away and you have trouble catching them. So that's why usually that fight happens around urn. But no fight, freebie. Now we're ahead by 8k souls, displayed up here alongside the timer. Do I want this? Yeah, I guess I do. But we are definitely winning. We still have a Guardian up, so that flex slot that I was talking about is big deal. We got a second flex slot for actually deleting one of the walkers as well, so we're doing extraordinarily well. Green is in some trouble, but clearly there's a fight going on, so I want to be a part of that. Thank you very much. Oh, okay, I managed to get a stun on 2 people. That's why they popped up on my radar there. And, well, I was going to ult, but apparently I really don't have to. What I do have to do is pay attention to, again, the MOBA mechanics. So if you're thinking that, you know, shooting well is the only thing that's going to get you good in a game that is shooting, I mean, that might be the case in other games. But in this game, not so much. Pretty much everyone agrees that if you have better MOBA mechanics than shooting, as long as you don't maybe pick the most skill-shoddy character, and then you'll actually be a better asset to your team up until the higher leagues. And by MOBA mechanics, I think we're talking about, because I'm definitely not coming from a background of being an expert on MOBA, nor am I an expert on shooters, first or third person. I come from a background of RTS. But fortunately, RTS actually is basically the grandfather of MOBA, and so some of the mechanics that are present in MOBA are very important, are also important in RTS. Literally, Warcraft 3 created Dota, so on and so forth. So anyway, those mechanics include, again, getting your money. So shooting the minions, clearing the waves, and then actually shooting the orbs and denying your opponent's orbs, if possible. Then you have the actual objective, so clearing the wave doesn't just give you money, but it also makes sure that the objectives are nice and safe, which then gives you retreat points, it gives you scouting, it gives you... well, it doesn't give your opponent flex slots. And then also map awareness, I think, is very important and is very much not a great thing I see in Deadlock right now. I think I'm pretty good at it. I'm obviously not perfect. Otherwise, I would see everything that happens at all times, which I don't. But basically, if you have vision, if the lanes are pushed, and... I could have cleared that. Saw Warden going after it. It's going to give Warden the clear. But yeah, map awareness. There's a lot of cases where I see people, or myself, you know, when I make mistakes. You know, basically there are very obviously pushed lanes. We're about to lose the objectives, and then there are people on the map who are healthy and alive and not doing very much. And instead of pushing or clearing the wave or saving the objective, instead they just farm. And that's pretty bad. The order of operations for if you want to go ahead and get yourself money is basically clear waves, and whoa, they're doing mid-boss. Clear waves, jungle, and boxes, but clear waves is first. I was gonna say, I don't actually know what happens if he ulted me. I'm not sure. I heard the rattle, but honestly, there was a lot of effects going on, so I'm not sure. Thank you very much, Ivy. If he picks me up, she can actually... There we go. That was a terrible call from them to go for mid-boss, by the way. I don't know why they did that. They did not really have a lot of presence. The lanes were about even. Every one of us was alive. It's not like they showed that we were... you know, there's 3 people on yellow and people on green, and then maybe you could have really quickly gotten mid-boss. I don't know. Could have been a call just to Hail Mary because they're so far behind, which is fair enough, but yeah, now has really, really very much lost the game for them. So fortunately, this game's been pretty easy. My teammates are about the, I'm guessing, same skill level as me, which is not always a guarantee in Deadlock. Perhaps even better. And so... on average, across the board, we are talking about our team being better than theirs. So yeah, unfortunately, the matchmaking in this game is not particularly good. So it's great to be on the good end of the matchmaking when you and your teammates are all a bit better. But even that can get boring if it happens too much. It sucks to be on the other side, of which I had just played a game to get a warm-up game in before... because it's been about 3 weeks for me not playing. I was in the UK, but yeah, that was truly a warm-up game because it was gross, disgusting, and unfun. This one, at least a little fun because we ended up winning, but not the most fun because the most fun game are going to be the ones where you are equally matched. Even if you're both bad, still much more fun. Probably really don't have to be clearing green, to be honest. We could probably win, but maybe they'll make a amazing defense. The way that Rejuve works, by the way, which, I mean, they've changed it a couple times, so I actually... You know what? I'm actually not sure what the new Rejuve is. So clearly we've got the 3 Rejuves, and then you can see that the Warden died in their base and then respawned. There's the rest of the Rejuves taken by Ivy and Pocket. What I think changed about it wasn't the revive that it now has, where it revives in place. That was a big change that they made, I don't know, months ago at this point. But there is something about how the Rejuve is doled out if, like, everyone dies. I don't remember what it is. But yeah, now it is that if you die and there's a Rejuve available, then you get a 3-second cooldown, and then you pop up where you died, which has its pros and cons. But now I use all the Rejuve, and so it is over. I haven't been buying. I haven't been really paying attention to the overall objectives, just trying to keep up with the teammates, and fortunately, like I said, they were doing their job, which is doing well. They were doing well, so just following them around for the most part has been good enough. But, for instance, I haven't bought. Got almost 10,000 souls. I should probably go to the shop. This is called the secret shop. This is the opponent's secret shop. But either way, it works for you. It's just a little more dangerous. And there you go. Since I had queued up so much stuff, I just automatically bought it. And now we're doing Earn, which is now in the offensive position because we are winning by so much money. I forget what the percentage is, but the placement of the Earn depends on the percentage you are ahead or behind your opponents.
I see Billy.
I'll say it's like 15%. I'm not sure. My ult's just fun to do, so there's always that. It's useful. It is counterable. They did nothing to try and counter it, though. They never got an opportunity to try and counter this. Right now, we're trying to end the game, which includes taking out the base guardians. One base guardians, set of base guardians gives you a slot. Now we have all our flex slots because we did that a while ago. Then you're going to kill the shrines, which you've already done. Then you're going to kill the first level patron, which is flying in the air. And then you're going to kill the last stage patron. Once it transforms, it goes down there. This whole thing descends. Yada, yada, yada. They did at least get a Green Walker. Funnily enough, that does open up one flex slot, but since we never took down the Guardian, that's actually all they have is one flex slot. So very, very one-sided. Hayes refused to participate in team fights, then crashed out. That is a pretty typical thing with Hayes, so it's quite funny. Oh, he stole my ult, which is a great time-buying ult if there's no counter to it.
You gotta try a lot harder than that.
I died. Warden died. That's okay. I think the rest of the team might just have this. Somehow we started off with a Yamato that went 1-7 in the first, like, 8 minutes, was it? And still ended up being a drastically better team. So believe it or not, 28.5 minutes in, I have not been able to talk about every single mechanic that Deadlock has. Just trying to catch up to it. GG's. Ivy just focus fired the patron, despite most of us being dead. And that is a game of Deadlock. Didn't even talk about the movement mechanics. I didn't really get into, like, you know, the boxes or the urns or the center sacrifice or anything. But that's what we're going to do it again. We're going to go ahead and continue on with this series, and we'll probably be a little repetitive, but hopefully newbies can come in and see a cast or a play cast that is a little more geared toward them. I will also be doing some actual newbie casts, so that's loading into a replay and casting it, but with a very newbie focus and really breaking down literally every aspect of Deadlock, because Deadlock can come in as a familiar game for some people, I guess, who have played maybe a combination of MOBA and hero shooters and third-person shooters specifically. But even then, its movement also kind of makes it so you would have had to have been a Quake player as well to understand how to use some of these things. So unless you've played basically all the games, it can be kind of intimidating. And even then, it's still intimidating just because it is new, it is being constantly changed and updated, yet it is still not actually fully released, so some people are hesitant to dedicate time to it. Wow, speaking of updates are still happening, update available, look at that. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic game. I think its depth is tremendous. It's very, very deep. But don't get me wrong, it can be a difficult game, and especially difficult to learn to the top level. I was ever intimidated by it as soon as I had that build guide, not even a guide, like read the template. As soon as someone was like, just choose a build and just go with it, I no longer cared about how deep the game could get and just cared about how many flashy boom boom things were happening on the screen and how good it felt to play the game. So hopefully by doing this, it didn't intimidate you, but yeah, maybe it did. Sorry about that. But hopefully you can just give it a go and we can talk more about how Deadlock is just a fun game to play. It's really exciting to talk about all these things. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys more for Deadlock later. Bye-bye.